Okay, so we're going to do the takeaways for 3.2. And the way it works is like what strategies did you guys use for features for finding the features of functions? Like in terms of like range. What was a strategy that you guys used? Oh, that's funny. So, what do you use? Like, what's your strategy for finding the range of a function? You guys said some of them, but I want to make sure that it's like super, in your brain. When I say range, what are you guys looking for? Very good. So these are your Y values. Someone said if I'm looking at a graph, I look from bottom to top. Someone else said the lowest to the highest Y values. Very good. Very, very good. So these are all range things. Okay. If you don't know about range, now you do. Okay. What about maximum? How do you find the maximum of a graph? What is the maximum? Yeah, it's the highest point, or that's on a graph, obviously, or biggest Y, right? Let's see. They also talk about because it's the maximum, on one side it should be increasing and on the other side it should be decreasing. It just means that it's a maximum. Okay. What about minimum? So similarly, right? It's the lowest point and it's the smallest Y. Yeah. All right. We talked a little bit about this, but intervals of increase. What is an interval of increase? First of all, you know what increase is. What's an interval of increase? What does that mean? Think about interval of time, right? It's an interval of time, right? So intervals, it's an interval. So it's from something to something. Yes. And we always look at the X's. We always write in terms of X. So like, for example, an example would be from 0 to 5, something like that, right? Where it starts increasing at 0 and it continues increasing all the way to 5. And then at 5, something happens. Either it starts leveling off and it's flat, or now you got to start going down. So an interval of increase, think about going up on the roller coaster. Roller coaster. We know how to type. We do. We know how to spell too. Okay. Any questions on these? Very good. Very good. Okay, next one. So interval notation. Remember we talked about this. Why does this one get a bracket? And why does this one get a parentheses? Look very carefully here. Why does one side get a bracket and one side get a parentheses? Look very careful. Use your very young, observing eyes to figure that out. What do you see? What do you guys see? Yeah, parentheses. Like, let me highlight things. So here, this parentheses here is because of this less than symbol here. Someone said the bracket shows the range is, yeah, that is true too, but a little bit different. So someone said the parentheses is graph, like for points on a graph. That's kind of true, but look at this, right? that looks like a point on a graph, but it's actually an interval. So I only get to put a bracket when I have an equal to sign. See? If you don't have an equal to sign, you automatically have to use a parenthesis. So the bracket is the same as the less than equal to sign, and it includes -2, but not 0. So does that make sense? It includes it. So this page is really important. Later on, you'll understand a little bit more. So if I did like this kind of notation, like this is my drawing, and this is 0, and this is 4, and this is open, and this is closed. So I'd write from 0, 4. Does 0 get a parenthesis or a bracket? Does 0 get a parenthesis or a bracket for this picture here? Come on, y'all. Yeah, it's a parenthesis. Why, Miss Johnson? Because it's not colored in. It's not equal to. It's not equal to. It's not equal to. So what about the 4? Does the 4 get a bracket or a parenthesis? Look very carefully. Yep. It's a bracket. Very good. So this is something that you will see on your next quiz. I will ask you to write this kind of, it's called interval notation. So it's to make it you writing it quicker rather than like having to write all your values out or using these symbols. Okay. So 0 to 4, including 4. This says including 4. Okay. So how would I write this as a symbol? I would write it like this. Now, do either of these get equal signs? Do either of these get equal signs? Actually, this one does. Because this is a bracket, because this is a closed sign, then this gets an equal to sign. These 3 things should line up in your head. Bracket means closed circle means equal to. Versus parentheses, open circle, no equal to. Those need to like line themselves up in your head. Like hamburger, In-N-Out, like all those words mean hamburgers in my head, right? Okay, so bracket means closed circle means equal to sign. This is something that needs to be written down somewhere. So make sure that you write this down. Okay, can I move on or you guys need another one of these? Okay, I'm gonna move on. So, with interval notation, the last thing I'll say is practice writing it because you're only going to get better at it if you practice it. Okay.